welcome back to the Sonic Mania playthrough. By this point we sped through Green Hill, played Puyo Puyo and Chemical Plant, got on the news in Studiopolis, hang glided from the Flying Battery, caused a nuclear winter in Press Garden, and had a time travelling episode in Stardust Speedway. But this could very well be our greatest challenge yet. Coming to a consensus on how to pronounce this. I mean, it's Hydrocity. It's one word, not two like Hydrocity would be, so I don't know how this argument has persisted for 3 decades by this point. But if you really want to win the argument / be annoying, you can always just call it Hydrocity-zon like the Japanese do, and who the hell can argue against you then? Nerd. Let's get through this. Better zones await beyond its ancient brick walls. Although, if you do want to do that, maybe don't do what I do, which is to say, don't fail to get anywhere until your 3rd attempt at the stage. I died twice before reaching that first checkpoint, both times to drowning. Attempt 1, take the upper path at the initial junction point, immediately fall back into the water after not jumping over a hole, jump past some enemies, try and go too far and end up drowning far away from any air sources. Attempt 2, take the upper path again, jump over the hole, fall off a rope and into the hole regardless, try and take the upper path at a later point, get shot down, wait for a long ass time for a bubble to be released by an air source, frustratingly, one never came. Attempt 3, take the upper path again, stay on it this time, get hit by a turbo spiker, but frankly, it doesn't matter because you finally reach a checkpoint. Phew. From there, Hydrocity Act 1 is all about manipulating water levels and scenic gondola rides, assuming you can ignore the massive mosquito-themed Bugonauts and their vile offspring. I clearly could. Got an achievement in everything, certifying my enthusiasm to ride any and all boats in the area, seeing as they're probably the best part of the Hydrocity Act 1 experience. People act like Hydrocity is one of the good Sonic water levels, but I only really understand the sentiment upon reaching Act 2. Don't get me wrong, Act 1 is definitely no labyrinth zone, but then far fewer water levels are that bad, and it is kind of slow and boring. Part of that is because you spend the final quarter of it stuck in a very slow bubble, inching past point dexters and blastoid volleys, which ends up padding the act significantly. And oh my god, there he is, peak male specimen, Dr. Eggman, whoop whoop. I have to say though, the diving suit really is not working for him. The purple and black makes him look fat. Of course we all know this is pure muscle, but you have to double check these things to make sure the wrong message isn't being broadcast. Wouldn't want anyone to misinterpret what this is, after all. Although he is out of one of his mechs or Eggmobiles, Eggman is unfortunately not about to throw hands with us for the sake of having a fair fight. It'd be too heavily in his favour otherwise. So instead he just tries to kill Sonic using explosives. Initially he uses some to try and get Hydrocity itself to collapse on top of Sonic, but this backfires and allows us to reach an Eggmobile loaded with depth charges. This is far and away the easiest boss in Mania at this point, because really, you're the boss in this situation. You effectively need to use the propeller at the bottom of the Eggmobile to suck up Eggman, making sure not to accidentally suck up one of the bombs instead. Hell, I remember being able to drop the depth charges onto the bombs to detonate them early and stop them from being a threat, which would make it even easier. Couldn't figure out how to do it, but that's fine. Basic ability to see whether Eggman or a bomb would be the first to reach a water spout is enough to make sure that after just 4 hits, no boss is defeated. On to the next act. As I said earlier, Hydrocity Act 2 is a better act than the first, and a lot of that is because it's uncharacteristically fast for a Sonic water level. It's filled with a ton of downward slopes, horizontal springs, and, most importantly, these weird hand boosters that hold you in place before letting go when launching you at top speed. After having ran into plenty of bandits and obstacles in the first act, I'd made more of a concerted effort here to not do that, as well as refrain from just holding right in favour of taking the upper path. I entered a bonus stage. I never really bothered with these, but I do want to figure out what you get for actually bothering to collect the medal someday. And after 2 minutes of running around getting blue-balled, I walked out with a silver medal. Could have gone to gold, but I took the wrong route and so lost out on collecting the final set of rings. Ended up running around collecting rings for a minute, getting myself an extra life in the process, you know, because I don't have enough as is, before retrying a special stage. I think it was in the last episode I attempted this, and I failed in the exact same spot again. I'm a very consistent person. Lost all of the rings I'd stockpiled in a series of running into things after having attempted to not do that earlier, But Act 2 gives you so many rings in the automated sections right before the boss that you really don't need to worry. The Laundromobile was always a boss I used to struggle on the first phase of, but I don't know, for whatever reason this time I found it really easy. Effectively, Eggman arrives in his newest machine to push you through a series of tunnels, and you need to detonate bombs by hitting their buttons, getting out of their way so they don't push you into Eggman, then dropping back behind them so they actually get hit by the Laundromobile. It's really not that hard to do, and most of the hazards at this point are negated by just playing well. Drowning is avoided by the bowls released after each successful attack, while the spikes and debris that litter the tunnels are fairly easy to avoid. I got hit once, but invincibility frames are a gift and I just got back into the flow of things. Most interesting is that I had the music restart for some reason after collecting my first air bubble, which I haven't seen happen before and didn't actually happen again. Phase 2 is also fairly simple, if maybe a little harder. The Laundromobile name comes into effect here, as Eggman will park it on this pole and begin to stir up the water to try and drown you, before running along the edges of the arena. You have no indication of where he'll come from, but again, invincibility frames. Take the hit, collect your rings, counterattack, win the fight. That's Hydrocity finished, which means it's time for one of the weirdest zone transitions in Mania. Water breaks through one of the arena walls, Sonic stares at it for a couple of seconds, then runs through and somehow ends up on the tornado in Mirage Saloon with Knuckles. I'm fairly certain this cutscene didn't even exist in the original version of the game, and you can see why. Without Phantom Ruby hijinks, there really is no natural way to connect these stages. But anyway, Mirage Saloon, best zone, is for next episode. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and ciao.